In the field of psychology, Machiavellianism is a personality trait centered on manipulativeness, callousness, and indifference to morality, with high levels of self-interest. The term is derived from a 16th century Italian philosopher named Niccolò di Bernardo Machiavelli and his most famous work, The Prince. In the underworld of the American Mafia, there have been some mafiosos who embody this personality trait. To them, the ends always justify the means. They are Machiavellian Mobsters, and these are their stories. Number 24. Antonio, Tony Bananas, Caponigro. Antonio Rocco Caponigro was born on January 22, 1912 in Chicago, Illinois, to Rocco Caponigro and Rosina Caponigro Verazzi. He, his parents, and his 4 siblings moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where his father Rocco ran a successful fruit stand at the Italian Market, otherwise known as South 9th Street Curb Market. Bananas were a mainstay at this fruit stand, and it is alleged that because of this, Antonio Caponigro would be given the nickname Tony Bananas. This nickname would stick with him throughout his life. Tony Caponigro would marry Kathleen Ann Caponigro Cox in 1943. It is believed that Caponigro was already involved in the rackets at this time. Sometime in the early 1950s, Caponigro would become a made man by then-boss Joseph Ida of the Philadelphia crime family. Caponigro would be put in the crew of Capo Riccardo Biondi. Under Biondi, Caponigro would run numerous rackets in the North Jersey section of the Philadelphia mob's territory. Caponigro would develop a successful gambling and numbers racket in North Jersey and also ran a successful prostitution ring which would work twofold as a moneymaker and as a way to control local politicians and other powerful citizens. An FBI report stated that, in February of 1957, the informant advised that Antonio Caponigro operated an extortion racket in which he used attractive young prostitutes. The informant said that these girls who worked for Caponigro would place a prominent or wealthy individual in a compromising situation, and that unknown to the victim, photographic and audio evidence of the situation would be obtained. The informant said that Caponigro had telephones and or microphones located in the walls of various locations in New Jersey, which he used for this purpose. These locations included the Garden State Motor Lodge on Route 46 in Pine Brook, New Jersey, and an apartment building at 32 Southmont Avenue in East Orange, New Jersey. This informant also stated that Caponigro obtained considerable income from this blackmail, as well as obtaining influence over prominent politicians and other persons in New Jersey. The same informant advised that prostitutes congregate mainly in New York City and that apparently a number of them come from Pennsylvania, and while passing through New Jersey, Antonio Caponigro occasionally detains a few of these girls to work for him in the Newark area. These prostitutes are put up at a home in Findurn, New Jersey, operated by a woman whose name has been redacted. In corroborating the informant's intelligence, a second informant advised the FBI that Redacted visited Caponigro's restaurant in Florham Park, New Jersey, known as Dot's Kitchen, on several occasions, and that when she comes to the restaurant, she's accompanied by 2 girls who have the appearance of prostitutes. The informant also said that Redacted and Caponigro frequently engage in long conversations at the restaurant, and it is believed that these conversations concern prostitution. The informant also advised the FBI that the Garden State Motel is owned by Antonio Caponigro, who took control of it in 1953. He said he does not know if Caponigro is listed as the owner of record, and he believes that Caponigro devotes little time to the business, which is run by a resident manager. As of 1957, Caponigro allegedly further controlled numerous restaurants and lounges in North Jersey, including the following: Dodd's Cocktail Lounge at 10 North Center Street, Orange, New Jersey; Dot's Kitchen, South Orange Avenue, Florham Park, New Jersey; the Highway Bar and McCarter Highway and Bridge Street, Newark, New Jersey; Mario's Restaurant at 35 Main Street, Millburn, New Jersey; Midway Tavern at 618 South Orange Avenue, Newark, New Jersey; Pierre's Cocktail Lounge, 24 Lincoln, East Orange, New Jersey; and Suburban Cocktail Lounge, 64 Brick Church Plaza in East Orange, New Jersey. This informant's information shows the wealth and power Caponigro accumulated in just a few short years. By the time the 1970s rolled around, Tony Caponigro was making millions of dollars running numbers, along with gambling and prostitution rackets, as well as an off-the-books drug operation. Soon Caponigro would be promoted to capo and then to consigliere of the family by current boss of Philadelphia, Angelo Bruno. In 1974, the New Jersey Commission on Organized Crime wanted to interview Caponigro about the North Jersey faction of the Bruno crime family. The commission had been trying to serve Caponigro with a subpoena for months, but Tony Bananas had been ducking them. He had moved to Manhattan and occasionally would sneak back to his home in Verona, New Jersey. 2 days before Christmas, Caponigro was at his home in New Jersey prior to his next trip back to New York City when he spotted a man he believed to be a process server sitting in the car that was blocking his driveway. The enraged Caponigro crashed his car into the other automobile. It turned out the other man was an FBI agent, and Caponigro ended up doing 30 months in prison. After being released, it is believed that the cagey mobster foresaw the end of the peaceful Angelo Bruno regime and decided to speed up the process. Indictments for racketeering were being brought against the ailing Bruno, and Caponigro wanted to take advantage of the animosity many in the Philly mob felt towards Bruno. Caponigro also had his sights set on shaking down longtime Bruno associate Raymond Long John Martirano, who controlled the methamphetamine industry on the East Coast. Martirano's kickbacks to Bruno, along with the kickbacks Bruno received from the Cherry Hill Gambino's cocaine operation, had made Bruno a wealthy man, and the double standard in the Philly mob when it came to drugs were one of the main reasons Bruno was resented by the rank and file. The Philly mobsters were tired of seeing millions of Philadelphia's dollars going straight to New York. Also, no new members were being made in Philly, while the already large New York families grew increasingly larger, making it easier for them to encroach on the territories of other families. Caponigro knew he could count on the support of several key members of Bruno's administration after the Don died. With that in mind, Caponigro began putting the plot in motion. Wasting no time, Caponigro traveled to New York City to consult his friend Frank Funzi Thierry from the Genovese crime family. Caponigro controlled a lucrative numbers operation in Newark, a holdover from the 1960s when the New York families had ceded parts of North Jersey to the Philadelphia crime family. Thierry also had activities in the area, and he had challenged Caponigro's incursion. Caponigro appealed the territorial dispute to the commission, which, acting on Bruno's recommendation, ruled in favor of Caponigro. Caponigro approached Thierry with a plan to murder Bruno and take over the Philadelphia crime family. Many, including Caponigro, assumed that Thierry was the boss of the Genovese family. However, the Genovese had been using front bosses since the days of Vito Genovese and Philip Benny Squint Lombardo. The real power was Vincent the Chin Gigante, with Lombardo in the process of retiring. However, Thierry assured Caponigro that he would support him before the commission. Tony returned to Philadelphia believing his planned mutiny was now officially sanctioned. Tony recruited the support of his brother-in-law, Al Salerno, and Bruno regime capos, Johnny Keys Simone, and Barracuda, Frank Sindone, into the plot. He then ordered the assassination. The plan was simple. Johnny Keys would become underboss, the Barracuda would become consigliere, and Salerno would be an instant capo after being made on this hit. On March 21st, 1980, the 69-year-old Bruno was killed by a shotgun blast to the head as he sat in his car in front of his home near the intersection of 10th Street and Snyder Avenue in the lower Moyamensing neighborhood of South Philadelphia. Salerno, believing he had just made his bones, was the triggerman, while Sindone assisted and witnessed the killing. This murder set off a series of killings and street wars that would see bullets flying and bombs detonated for years. When the commission learned of Bruno's murder, Caponigro was summoned at once. Of course, the Genovese family, who had encouraged Caponigro to execute Bruno, now told the other mafia bosses on the commission that they would get to the bottom of the murder and avenge Bruno's assassination. Caponigro thought he was traveling to New York to be made the boss of Philadelphia and had his chauffeur Salerno drive him to the meeting. Since Salerno was not yet a made guy, he waited at the bar while Caponigro was taken to the Triangle Club. Caponigro was told that the murder had not been considered, let alone sanctioned by the commission. Caponigro then turned helplessly to Frank Thierry, who sat in on the meeting. When he identified Thierry as the man who had authorized the murder, Thierry categorically denied it. Thierry allegedly said, "I told you to straighten it out, not to kill him." The ruling was that Caponigro had murdered a commission member without authorization. The sentence was death. Caponigro would then be viciously murdered as retribution for the hit. Though no one knows for sure who the Genovese administration used to kill Caponigro, Joe Mad Dog Sullivan admitted to the killing in a confessional documentary. Caponigro was shot 14 times, allegedly by Sullivan. Mad Dog actually praised the fearless gangster, saying Tony Bananas came at him like a runaway rhinoceros. Afterwards, Salerno, who thought he was being brought around to celebrate his brother-in-law's new title, was whacked as well. Tony Bananas was found shot to death in the trunk of a car in the Bronx. He had been tortured and shot repeatedly. Torn $20 bills were found scattered around the trunk of the car. Salerno, also tortured and shot to death, was found in a mortician's body bag a mile away. Both bodies were stripped naked, with $20 bills stuffed in their mouths and other orifices. As a reward for finding Bruno's assassins, the Genovese were given Caponigro's lucrative gambling rackets in New Jersey. It seemed that the Genovese brass had played Caponigro well with their Machiavellian plot. Philip Testa would take over as boss of the Philly family, with Pete Casella as his underboss and Atlantic City powerhouse Nicodemo Scarfo as consigliere. Ralph Blackie Napoli would take over the Philadelphia mob's North Jersey operation. Tony Caponigro's treacherous plot to take over the Philly mob was the perfect example of the double cross. While the wily Caponigro did manage to eliminate his boss, he lost the long game to smoother operators in the Genovese family. The tale of Tony Caponigro is a case study of Machiavellianism in the mob.